Hi, welcome. My name is Wilfred, and in this video, we'll be taking a look at HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is the basic foundation of every web page. Whether you're a beginner or someone who already has some knowledge about HTML and looking to refresh your knowledge on HTML, this video is for you. By the end of this video, you'll have an understanding of what HTML is and its basic syntax. Now, let's take a look at, I would like to use some examples to actually demonstrate to actually explain what HTML is. But before we begin, we have to know where HTML is used. Like I said in my definition, HTML is used on web pages. So this is a web page. And on this page, this is Wikipedia's web page. So on this page, you might be asking where HTML is. Well, we'll get into that. But first of all, what's a web page made up of? A web page is made up of three things. It has HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML, like I said, is the basic structure, and CSS is used to position different text, add coloring, and also add some user interaction, some animation on the page. JavaScript makes the page dynamic. So stuff like form submitting to the server, form submission to the server, and other stuff that have to do with interacting with the page can be done using JavaScript. Assuming this web page, let's go to my example. Assuming this web page is a car. Let's take a look at the car. This is a car. A car is made up of three different things. It has a structure, it has color, and it's able to move. Like I said in previously, a web page is made up of three different things. Now, how do those things come to play when it comes to a car? Assuming this car is a web page, HTML here on this car is the structure of this car. This car has color. It is red, and every other thing like the tire and the headlights are positioned in specific position. So CSS is used to do that. And for the car to be able to move from one place to another, we use JavaScript to do that. So basically, that's what a web page is. Now, and we are going to look at one of those components. Now, HTML is made up of elements. Elements are basically group of tags with content in them. Now, what are tags? Tags are basically little HTML codes. So I'm going to pull up onto this screen here. Let's copy. Let me copy a link here. I'm going to put this link in the description so you have a look at what tags. So these are HTML tags. Now, tags play a very important role on pages. So we have opening and closing tags. So tags come in pairs basically. So I made a presentation slide, but I'm trying to pull it up on the screen so we look at okay, now this is the presentation slide. Nice. So okay, now HTML code, HTML tags are these. Let me go back to, oh sorry, Christ, sorry about that, really sorry. Let's take a look at tags. So the H1 and these two angle brackets is a tag. The other one here, let me use a highlighter to actually highlight this. So this one here is a tag. This one too is another tag. So this first one is an opening tag or a start tag, and the one with the forward slash is a closing tag. The element in between this is a test node, and I'm going to explain in a different video what test nodes are. Basically, when we create an element, we use this, we enclose this element. When we create an element, we use an opening or start tag and a closing tag followed by the test in these two elements. Now, in these two tags, sorry. Now, people often interchange the terms elements and tags. Elements are basically tags and tests or their contents, and tags are these two things. Tags themselves cannot show up on the page, but there are some tags that can do that as well. But what I'm trying to say here is that elements are different from tags. So let's take a look at elements in play or tags. So before we do that, we will have to write our code somewhere. We need to download Visual Studio Code, and I'll put this link in the description below for you to get Visual Studio. The installation process is really simple. You just install based on your operating system, and then you carry on. So let me open up Visual Studio. So I have some tests pre-written here. I'm going to delete all of that and start over again. This is something I created previously. Let me delete this. Delete. Okay. Now we are going to create some HTML elements and preview them on the browser. We are going to see them in action, like I said. So this, okay. Sorry. So this is our browser here. The browser is not showing up, sorry. Okay, now this is our browser. And let's create our first HTML element. To create an HTML element, you put the name of your file followed by .html as the extension, the file extension. So I'm going to type index.html here. And to start, we need, so let's say we just in the previous slide, which is this slide here. In this slide, let me open up where. So previously we saw these two. We are going to try to create these two HTML elements here. So let's go. This is a heading tag. It is called a heading tag, and this one here is a paragraph tag. Okay. Now let's go to back to our Visual Studio Code. So let's create so let's type hello world. Now to open our file in the browser, you simply drag and drop it here, or you open it from your file explorer. Okay, now we can see some text on the page, hello world. Well, if you pay close attention to this text, it doesn't look like a normal text per se. It has some styling to it. So HTML tags have different semantics, have different styles, and each browser have their own style sheets built into them to actually translate or render this HTML code for us to see. So HTML, this is a heading tag. So this heading tag here is shown this way. Let's type another tag. We saw the paragraph. So just type P and you'll see this auto completion that comes up to actually complete this whole sentence or statement. So you just press enter and then it pops up with the opening and closing tag. But if you can't do that, you can also type it yourself and the auto completes it for you after putting in the closing tag. So the closing tag is always preceded the text of the closing tag is always preceded by the /. Anyway, so let's put in some text here. Let's say hello world, which is the convention when you're starting out it's programming for your first time. Voila. So hello world is here. We can see that these two tests are different. They are different in terms of size, they are different in terms of style as well. But like I said, all of these are built into HTML and they are translated by the browser by themselves automatically. So now this is an HTML element and this is another HTML element. So with text inside them, but not only elements, not only text can be contained between two tags, two HTML tags. You can also put other HTML elements inside of a tag. A tag, by a tag I mean a pair of tags. So yeah. So let's try and put in some other elements into another. So let me type an H1 here and let's try to put a paragraph tag in it. By the way, like I said, there are a lot of tags here that we can use and they all play different roles. So basically when we need to use any other tag, we can just come here. So we'll be having some detailed explanation about them later on, but we can't cover all the tags in, otherwise the video will not end. Anyway, so yeah, so we just put a paragraph tag inside of these two heading tag, and let's write something. Let's say hello be in H1, and let's look at it. Let's look at the answer here. So always save your file and refresh. Press Ctrl S to save. Oh, now we have a paragraph inside another, and we can see that the one covering the inner paragraph takes the just the style of that one shows more than the one inside of it. So that doesn't mean that the p tag is useless. It's actually a paragraph inside of an H1. the difference is very it's not really noticeable, but the p tag is there. The browser still puts it there the way it is, but you can have this for the purpose of maybe, there's a way you want to start something, but this is just a demonstration that you can put one tag inside another. And the act of putting one tag inside another is called nesting. Nesting in HTML is putting one tag inside of another. Now, some tags might not show up. Like for instance, if I put a p tag, so some tags have priority over others. So if I put an h1 inside p tag, well, normally you would expect the one wrapping it to have its style more take precedence over the other, but that's not how it works. So the h1 tag would let's oh, I just spoiled that, but anyway, hello h1 p and p. So when you refresh, you can see the h1 is still showing because the h1 has priority over the tag anyway. And that is nesting in HTML. But there are some ways nesting can have issues. Like this, one of the issues you can come across. Like you can have undesired results when you make some nesting in HTML. So you were not expecting the h1 to take precedence over this one. So anyways, when nesting in HTML, let's take for instance, let's make a list. So to make a list in HTML, you type UL. UL stands for unordered list. So it basically creates lists with bullet points. So the child element of UL, the natural child element of UL is LI. This is a child element, a child tag, sorry. This is a child tag. Like I said, everybody makes that mistake. Myself, I make that mistake. So this is a child tag of the UL elements. When you type, let's type something, tomato. Let's type tomato. Let's make more child list element. Let's call this leg. Let's call this arm. That's enough. So let's refresh the page and see our results. Now you can see we have a list. This is a list. This is a list. So the unordered elements, the unordered tag has some list elements inside of it. Now, HTML is very forgiving when it comes to making mistakes. Let's look at a very, very funny, not funny per se, but let's look at one of the lenient nature of HTML. So let's try and delete this. Now I only have the opening tags of each of these list elements. What do you think will happen when I refresh the page? I just refresh the page and the answer is nothing happens. But not because HTML is linear does not automatically mean that we can actually make these mistakes. So if we say, for instance, let's type an h1 here, we have hello. Now, will the browser assume that this li, this h1 here, this h1 element is also a child element of the li? Well, let's refresh the page and see. No, it automatically closes it. Well, how about when we have the li here? The h1 element, sorry. in between lists. Now it doesn't make it a list per se. So basically the browser is automatically adding closing tags to these elements here, but not to all elements the browser will be able to do that. Let's say for instance we don't have a closing tag for this h1. What do you think will happen? Yes, it becomes part of the this li becomes part of this h1 element here. So yeah, that's another consequence of not closing your tags properly. Let's move on to another. We just finished nesting. So nesting of elements, and not all elements are the same, and not we have a lot of tags, countless tags, not countless per se, but there are a lot of tags in HTML. So we want to look at the different types of elements we have in it, because not all elements are the same. Not all elements are created equal. So what are these elements that we have in it? Let's take a look. So we have three different types of elements in HTML. We have, let me pull up my presentation slide here. Okay, and let me open up my right. So we have three types of elements in HTML. We have non-replaced elements, we have replaced elements, and we have void elements. So basically non-replaced elements are elements that have their contents displayed as it is, so without being replaced. So they include elements like paragraphs, heading, lists. Non-replaced elements can have child elements nested inside of them, and their contents can be styled using CSS properties. So any elements ranging from, let's go back to the text editor here. Let's open up the browser as well. So sorry, this is gone. Oh, how you do this? Right. So all these elements here are non-replaced elements. So basically what you put inside of them is what you get. They just show up that way, and an h1 element will not show up as an li element. We have something called, let me use another element, which is b. It is bold. So it is bold. Let's say hello world. Hello world. It is bold. You can see the text is bold here. Another effect of this issue about not closing the tags is you can see that the B is also added to the arms list here. So it also affects it. All this go back to the precedence that each element have over, each tag have over others. So let me close this tag here and let's refresh this page. Now we can see the hello world here, but it's still looking big. Why is it? It's because of this one here. So let's close this guy. When we refresh, boom, the size is changed. So this hello world here is bold, but it's not as big as the h1 element, which is this hello world here. Now so all of these are non-replaced elements. They can be styled using CSS, you know, so on. But what are replace elements. Basically, replace elements are replaced by objects. What do I mean by that? So let's say these elements can only be displayed using other sources. Let's take a look. For instance, let me pull up let me add another file source to, let me take off the screen. Let me add an image to our project here. Let's go back. Let's add an image. Now we can see an image is added here. Okay, so we have an image here. Now, if you type img here, which is the image tag for creating images, img here, you can see it's a single tag on its own. And when we refresh the page, nothing shows. Why is that? It is because these elements cannot be rendered by itself. It has to use an external source to show itself on it. So when we go to, what's the name of our image here? Let's copy the name of the image. Oh, by the way, I typed F2 to rename, and then Control A to select all the text there, and Control C to copy. So here, let's paste the name of this image here. So because this image is the same path as our HTML element, so we can just leave it there like that, just put in the name. When we refresh, we see something on this page. Wow, it is really, really big. Oh, it is our image. This image is probably too big, so let's use a smaller image. Let's go to the Wikipedia page. This image here, open link in new tab. Oh, sorry. Let's open this image in tab. We have this image. Let's copy the URL of that image and put it in our source. So sorry about that. Now we refresh. Now we can see that the image is here. This is the image here. You can see. So this image tag here, the replaced element. So replaced elements have their contents replaced by something else. They include images. They include images, inputs, files, input elements, sorry, input tags. And when you open this, you can see this is an input. Also, there is another interesting input. So you can change the type here. Let me change this to a range. Let's see. Now you can see this is a range that you can drag, and let me adjust stuff a little to the top here. Right. So you can see different, the image. There's a video tag as well. There's a video element, so when those so those stuff are actually, those uses external objects or external stuff to be displayed on the page. Also, let me look at this. So sorry. Okay, now we have our third type of element. I don't know where my slide has gone to. Our third type of element is void element. Void elements basically are really they are different from very different from replace and non-replace elements. So some of the void elements actually look like non replaced elements. Basically, they have they are, you know, they have the same structure as basic as not replaced elements. So let's take an example of void elements. Let's take an example. We have PR. Let's look at HR first. Let me put it somewhere here. HR for us to see the results on the page. Let's refresh the page. Boom. Now you can see there's a line. It might not be really. Let me push it up here for you to see it between the in. Nice. You can see this line here. This line here. These are void elements. Void elements cannot contain tests, or they cannot nest elements by themselves. You cannot put any other element in a void element. Replaced elements can be void elements, but void elements cannot be replaced elements. What do I mean by that? If you have an image tag here, when you look at the image tag, it's basically the same as a void element. Where's the void element? Let me put another void element. We have BR. BR stands for break. It basically, breaks the line. It just adds space, extra space. So yeah. So let me put it between the range. So you will see that the range will not come below this because that space has been added. Right. This is it. So the range is now below the image. So that is void elements. Let's also have a look at what. So we are done with void elements. On my list here, I have we'll be looking at. I don't know why I can't. I'm not able to. So I should be able to move this to the next slide here. Okay. All right. Yes, our next topic is on attributes. Attributes provide information about elements, and attributes actually make HTML elements really, really powerful. So with attributes, you can actually access or access the element from a different file, like a CSS file, for instance. You'll be able to add styling to those files. Let's take a look at what attributes are. So let's open our screen here. Let's take a look. Okay. Yes. This we say attributes are often located in the opening tag, of any element. So basically, you see between these two angle brackets here, every other thing you see aside the name of that tag is an attribute. Attributes are often in key value pairs, and they are they are separated by an equal sign. So we also have this quotation mark that we that are also part of the attributes, basically. So attributes are a value pair kind of code that are between the opening angle brackets followed by the name of the of that particular tag and then the closing angle bracket. Okay, these are single, these are some replaced elements that have attributes. Let's add attributes to our non-replaced elements. So let's say hello world here. So let's add an ID attribute. So we can call this heading, and let's add another class attribute to this. We can also call this a class. Heading. So when we look at we start our CSS series, we'll be looking at how we'll be able to use all of these attributes, how these attributes will be useful to us. So basically, this is an ID. It's basically used to actually give an identity to our element here. Obviously, this will not add any changes to this will not make any difference to the elements, but we can actually see how this will come into play when we start our CSS series. Anyways, that's it for today. I would like you guys to ask me some questions in the description, in the comments, sorry. Ask me some questions in the comments, and let me go over some things that I might have skipped. And yeah, so that's it for this series, this episode on my channel. I think attributes are the last topic I was going to go over. Attributes are really powerful. Attributes are very useful, and we will see how we can use attributes in other videos, upcoming videos. So let's open our slide here. Let's go to the slide is gone. I'll do better next time presenting. Sorry guys. So we'll be having a look at in our next video we'll be taking a look at what we'll take a look at the document structure, basically how HTML is actually structured to be rendered on web page. We'll be looking at what metadata are. We'll be looking at the semantic of HTML. Also, after that, I think we will start using the different elements that we would have learned to build a web page. We'll build our own portfolio web page from scratch based on the things we've learned. So we'll basically be learning by doing. So you'll follow me in the upcoming tutorials to build everything we are set to working on. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and please let me have your questions in the comment section. And if you need help with any other topic, I'll be going over these or I'll be putting in some explanations on my page. You know, basically, I'll be explaining a lot of stuff to you guys as well if you need help with anything. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like on this video. Thank you.